everyone, it's Keira and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. So for today's video, we are going to be talking all about the rivalry, which is Robert Schwartzman versus Callum Ilott. So I think most people are following this rivalry in F2, but if you aren't, I'll give you a little summary. Basically, Callum Ilott and Robert Schwartzman are both fighting for the F2 title this year. There are very high rumours that there will be a seat available in ALFA ROMEO next year, and considering Robert and Callum are both members of the Ferrari Driver Academy, and ALFA is basically the junior team for Ferrari, that is probably the place they're gonna go. So in this video, I am going to be talking to you about who I think should probably get that seat, depending on if there is one. The speculations at the moment are that there may only be one seat, but there may be two available. But we are going to talk about, hypothetically, if there is only one seat available. I'm also really happy to say that I have got Aldous jumping on this video with me. You should all know Aldous by now. He's an amazing content creator here on YouTube for Formula One. I will leave his links in the description box below. But yeah, I'm going to talk you through some points first. Then Aldous will give his opinion on who he thinks should get the Formula One seat if it was out of Robert and Callum. And then at the end, I will give you my opinion. So just before we jump into this video, 65% of you watching this video right now have not subscribed, so please do subscribe for more content like this. I'll be doing so many more videos throughout the season and obviously throughout winter break and so on and so on and so on. So let's just get on into the video. Both Callum Ilott and Robert Schwartzman have been part of the Ferrari Driver Academy since 2017. So they have both been in the team for quite a long while now. They are both well established into the team and they are the top guys. Obviously we do have Mick Schumacher in there with, you know, fairly good results, and also the name comes in handy, but these two are definitely the ones that are probably going to be fighting for the seat. But first I'm going to talk to you about Robert Schwartzman, and you know, this man is amazing. There's no two ways about it. This man is amazing. So he's coming into Formula 2 this year with Prema, and he is coming off the back of 2 titles. In 2018 he won the Toyota Racing Series ahead of Richard Verschoor, who is currently racing for MP Motorsport in Formula 3, and Marcus Armstrong, his former teammate in Prema last year and now still his Ferrari Driver Academy colleague, I guess, but Marcus is now in ART for Formula 2. And then last year, as we probably know if you did watch the junior categories, Robert completely dominated Formula 3 last year with Prema. Obviously Marcus was also his teammate, and Jehan Derivla. So Robert is coming off 2 title wins. You know, he is emulating what George Russell and Charles Leclerc did, and a lot of people tip him to literally do exactly the same as what them boys done and just go straight up, win everything and go straight up. And he's got that mentality. I think it was Austria or the Styrian Grand Prix, I'm not sure which one, where Robert, bear in mind this is the start of the season, back then Robert was like, I'm just thinking about the championship, I'm just thinking about the points, and you can really tell his tally is pretty much, you know, points every race. I think there may be like 2 races where he hasn't scored any points, but I remember one being the Styrian Grand Prix where he spun, but I can't quite remember the other one. So this man is thinking about the championship, and that's what you need to do. There are a lot of drivers I find in Formula 2 and in Formula 3 that just, they're not in the right headspace. They don't think about the long game, where Robert is so good at thinking about the long game. He's so good at making sure that everything is ready and everything is set out for the whole season, and he's going to get every point available, and that's obviously how he's won these championships. I think he's such a mature driver for 20 years old, and he's just got so much raw speed and talent. There's nothing too outrageous about him, there's nothing too feisty about him. I just think he gets the job done. He is just one of those drivers, kind of like a stand-up, flat kind of good driver. Not flat, but you know what I mean. Like, he's just one of those drivers that can just get on and do it. Kind of like a little bit like Lewis Hamilton, you know. He doesn't do anything too like Max Verstappen-esque or Daniel Ricciardo-esque in a way. He just gets the job done, and props to him because he's doing an amazing job. So those are my points on Robert Schwartzman. Next I'm going to move on to Callum Ilott. He is 21 years old and from Cambridgeshire in the UK, and Callum's story is a little bit different. He did not just sail through and win every championship. He had a little bit of a different time. So Callum has actually never won a single seater series in his career. Obviously very different to Robert, who has pretty much won everything he's done. And Callum, you know, with Robert, he's kind of staying 1 year in each series, whereas Callum has stayed a couple of years in each series. He actually done 3 years in GP3, and the highest he got was 2018, and he came third. He came third to Nikita Mazepin, who was a P2, and the late Antoine Hubert, who won the championship in 2018. So Callum was up there. He's a very good driver, but he fluctuates a little bit. You know, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad, and I think that then carries on to my next point, which is his first year in Formula 2, where he was racing with what do they call themselves? The Sauber team by Charus. It's basically Charus, and he really had a bad time. It did not reflect how good of a driver he is, but he just had a really bad time last year. Nothing got hooked together. He made a lot of silly mistakes, a lot of crashes. That is something you do not see from Robert Schwartzman. So that's one thing that worries me about Callum Ilott, is the fact that he's made a lot of mistakes that I've never seen Robert Schwartzman do in his life. He came P11 last year in the championship, so it wasn't great, but this year he's got an amazing opportunity with UNI Virtuosi, and he is doing so well. I really rate Callum as a driver, but I never ever, and I don't think many people expected him to be where he is this year in the championship. Like, he is doing unbelievably well. He is 18 points ahead of Robert in the championship. He's absolutely just done amazing. Again, he has fluctuated more than Robert. There's been a lot of times where he hasn't had any points, but actually when he's getting the points, he's getting the points. Like, this man is on fire. I've never seen Callum drive like this before, but he's really showing he's got pace. He can overtake. He's doing really good moves, and he just looks strong. He looks a lot stronger than Robert. Really, really strong. Like, I would be scared on a track with him, you know. And I think I'd be scared of any of the drivers, but I would be scared to race against him. It's just a completely different Callum Ilott this year, and he is showing that he deserves that seat. And I never expected it to be out of him and Robert for the Alfa Romeo seat. I thought it was going to be Mick. Well, Mick could still technically be in there, but if you actually, this is to you, Matteo Bonotto, if you actually look at the points, it's either Robert or Callum. Mick is not in this equation right now. And we are halfway through the championship right now, so Robert's got a lot of catching up to do, especially if Callum stays on this form. It's very difficult to see whether Rob could, you know, actually win this championship or not, and I just can't believe how amazing Callum's been. Okay, so as I said at the start of this video, I have got Aldous in for this video. I want to thank him so much for getting involved in my video, and here is his thoughts on who he thinks, if one of the drivers were to get an Alfa Romeo seat, which one it would be.
So, if there was only one seat at Alfa Romeo in 2021 for a new driver from Formula 2, who would I pick over Callum Ilott or Robert Schwartzman? Now, straight away, let me just give props to both drivers, because both of them deserve to be in Formula 1 next year. There's no doubt about it. They have been absolutely phenomenal in Formula 2, up against a really tough field of amazing drivers, talent everywhere you look, and these two, I think, definitely stand out above the rest in Formula 2 this year, both in speed, consistency, and maturity as well, to try and win the title at the end of the season. Now, again, kind of bringing it back to the point of the question, who would I pick if there was only one seat? Well, to me, it's very tough, no doubt about it, but to me, I'd go with Robert Schwartzman, because to come in your rookie season and do as well as he has, again, up against a stacked field of so many amazing drivers, so much talent out there, and to do what he has done so far, second in the championship. He actually led the championship for the start of the season, but has had a few little rough races, and Callum Ilott has just kind of, you know, speared his way in the championship contention and the championship lead so far. But I still think that at the end of the day, it will be Robert Schwartzman to win the title, because I feel like he's got that X factor. The way he won in Formula 3, dominated that series up against Armstrong, and then coming into Formula 2 in his rookie season. And again, I'm just seeing that X factor that I saw with both Leclerc and also George Russell in their maiden Formula 2 seasons. It's not really something I can pinpoint with regards to speed or even pace either, or anything like that. It's that X factor. It's just, you see it with your eye and you think, that guy is going to be a future world champion. And I see that with Robert Schwartzman and the way he's gone into that team. And he was already the #1 driver. There's no doubt about it. And it's Schumacher who has to play the catch-up game. And I also think that the way he will go into Formula 1, it'll be a much more smoother from Formula 2 to Formula 1, because Callum Ilott does tend to take maybe 2 seasons to get really integrated into the team and integrated into the series. But Robert Schwartzman has that adaptability where he just comes into the team and straight away he is bang on the money. And it would be great for Alfa Romeo, a team who are struggling a little bit at the moment, to get something fresh, to get some raw talent, and I definitely think that Robert Schwartzman is that guy. And also, of course, both of these two drivers part of Ferrari Driver Academy, so they are going to keep a very close eye on both of these two drivers, and there are other drivers in Formula 2 as well. But again, in my opinion, I would give it to Robert Schwartzman if there was only one seat, because to me, it's nothing that you can measure. He just has that X factor, and to me, he is a future world champion. I'm calling it right now. But yeah, to be honest, like I said, I'd love to see both of these two guys next year in Formula 1. Maybe both of them at Alfa Romeo, a Schwartzman-Ilott lineup. That would be very tasty. But if there was only one seat, in my opinion, I think it should go to Robert Schwartzman.
Okay, so Aldous thinks that Robert Schwartzman is going to get the title and is also going to get the Alfa Romeo seat if there were to be one. And do you know what? I would have agreed with that probably the first couple of races. I rated Robert Schwartzman to win the title coming into this season, obviously off his Formula 3 win last year. However, in the last couple of weeks, I've really had a change of heart. I don't know why. I just feel, I don't know. It's so difficult because I really like both of them, and they're both doing so well. They're both so strong this year. Normally, you've just got one person that's just dominates, but they're both being so strong this year. But I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree with Aldous, and I'm gonna say Callum Ilott's going to have it. I just feel like we're halfway through this season now. Callum is dominant. It doesn't look like he's slowing down at any stage, and he is just so fast. I don't know whether Robert can catch up. I don't know whether Robert can get 18 points on Callum when Callum is performing so well. But then again, on the other side, Callum has had some couple of weekends where he has dipped a lot more than Robert. Robert has been a lot more consistent, and consistency is key in this sport. We know that you can't dip up and down. It's not going to work like that. So I'm gonna just differ. I'm gonna say Callum Ilott. I've probably got Callum's back for this championship. So we'll have to wait and see whether Callum then gets this Alfa Romeo seat. I really hope that Callum does get it because he deserves it. He's raced really well. He's got a lot of maturity on his back. He's got a lot of knowledge. You know, he's been in single seaters now for like literally ages. He's such a good driver, and he'd be a great asset for Alfa Romeo, and then, you know, maybe moving up into Ferrari one day. So that is my prediction, that Callum Ilott will get the Alfa Romeo seat for 2021. But obviously, if there are 2 seats available, which I personally think that both of the drivers at Alfa Romeo should leave, then I'd like to see them both come in, and also there may be a seat available at Haas for one of them if, you know, Haas decide to eventually change their driver lineup. That is it for today's video. Thank you again for watching, and if you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Also, do not forget to check out Aldous's channel. I will link it in the description box below if you do not already subscribe to him. He makes amazing content. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Let me know in the comment section below who you think is going to win this title and who you think is going to make the step up to Formula 1 next year, whether Robert Schwartzman, whether Callum Ilott, or whether somebody else, because I am only covering the Ferrari situation here. There are situations at AlphaTauri with Yuki Tsunoda or Yuri Vips. There may be a situation in the next couple of years with Williams and Dan Ticktum or Jack Aitken. So there are plenty of things going on with the Formula 2 grid and moving up to Formula 1. So let me know if you are following it and who you think should get into Formula 1 for 2021. But thank you again for watching, and I will see you soon for a brand new video. Goodbye.